Gilbert, queen of the WNBA, the woman who brings home the bacon and then some, has added another almost $1 billion to the WNBA media rights deal. Absolutely fantastic. The players should be on their knees singing her praises. She is the it girl that has gotten them every single thing they want. Okay, Caitlin Clark might have had something to do with it. But that being said, we got to talk a little bit about this update on the deal because for the first time ever, even though I've talked about this many, many times, I could always say, I'm pretty sure there has to be. They wouldn't do it without this. But I didn't have it anywhere in writing that I could find or a quality source where I could say, yes, this is part of the deal. And that could change everything about the future of the WNBA. If things don't change with regard to Caitlin Clark, this entire deal could fall apart. And then where will the WNBA be? Welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. Truly appreciate all your support. Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. Of course, I don't think I mentioned it yesterday. Apologies. Hope everyone had an amazing Mother's Day, especially obviously all the deserving mothers out there. Uh, just real quick aside, one thing I really appreciated and loved when I was coaching youth soccer is, man, we always played on Mother's Day, right? And it was it was a cool feeling to hear from a lot of mothers that for them they would not have had it any other way than to be out on the pitch watching their kid play a sport that they love. And by the way, that is how you get the Caitlin Clarks of the world. I'm just saying. So anyway, let's dig into this. I got it here somewhere, right? Okay, WNBA deal, media deal now exceeds 3 billion in total value. The league has added more than 900 million in new deals since agreements with Disney, Amazon, and NBC Universal were announced in 2024. By the way, I just want to add to that real quick, and I haven't seen it. The delay sometimes with these things is insane, but and I will do it, of course, because it was opening weekend. I won't do every one all the time, but opening weekend is going to be a huge indicator and something as a measure of a measuring stick going forward. Again, with the question marks surrounding Caitlin Clark and how she's used and her health and all of that, is what the ratings are. I I think there's no way Caitlin Clark's opening game shouldn't be 2 million plus. And so that is going to be, hey, what do we measure everything else about? Obviously, there'll be ups and downs, but is the trend up or is the trend down? I think a lot of that's going to have to do with how Caitlin Clark is playing, or more specifically, how Caitlin Clark is used and how Caitlin Clark is playing, which brings me to a really, really important point that we get into a little lower here. The WNBA's 11-year deal, that's insane that it's 11 years, is now worth 3.1 billion with partners. Disney, of course, owns ABC and ESPN. So, I mean, that right there is a huge, huge part of it. NBC Universal, NBC Peacock, Amazon, Paramount, Scripps, USA Sports, and NBA TV. Now, what's crazy, of course, is going to be interesting to see how many of these end up on streaming. That is a big issue and a big battle in the sports landscape right now because a lot of people are getting sick of games being taken off stations that most people have, whether it's basic like ABC, where you can still get broadcast, or ESPN, which you can get with basic cable. Well, now you got like this: if games are on Prime and games are also on Peacock and games are on Paramount, okay, well, what if Disney's streaming some, whether it's Hulu or their new ESPN service or whatever it is? How many streaming services are we going to have to own to watch WNBA games? The average annual value of the new media deal is $281 million, 6.5 times more than the previous deal's AAV of $43 million. They added CBS, Scripps, and Amazon as partners over the last few years. As we know, in July of 2024, the WNBA was 2.2 billion. So, like I said, Kathy added almost $1 billion more to the deal. But here's the thing: we all know what happened in 2024. Right? And believe me, yes. Now, it was a little bit of a risk, yes, but I'm telling you, these are smart people making these deals. They kind of had that in mind, and that's how we got this. I promise you, 99% of this was done before this season started. So it was all again with the understanding of we saw what Caitlin Clark has done We really hope she has an entirely healthy season this year, and that is why we're giving you this money. Because again, and this is what really upsets me about the old guard stuff, is because we've seen it, right? Now we may see it go in reverse because we're still seeing a lot of nonsense, but a lot of Caitlin Clark fans are becoming fans of the overall game. And, you know, well, I don't want to digress too much into some of the players coming in, but I've talked about the new generation coming in behind Clark and how important that is. And we're seeing some of it already, which is cool. But that was the whole point. And again, that still comes from Caitlin Clark. Like if you're going to look at ratings of other games with other teams, yeah, guess what? You might not like it, but that came from Caitlin Clark. Those people did not materialize out of nowhere after 27 years. They are people that came for Caitlin Clark and said, you know what? I like this team. I like this player. I'm going to watch these games. But now we're going to get into the part that I've talked about for so long, and here we have it in writing. I kept saying, and I said 2, 3, 4 years, right? The deal comes with a reset provision after the third season in 2028. If triggered, the sides can renegotiate the terms of the deal, including the length and cost, but it's unclear whether the provision can be triggered by the league, its partners, or both. I promise you, it can be well, I'm going to say both, but I'm sure the WNBA would do that too. Although the NFL does that, but they have leverage, right? The WNBA, they're going to want that, but they're just going to hope the other side doesn't use it, and the other side's not giving it to the WNBA without having it. So what does that mean? Well, all these media properties, they spend this amount of money because they're thinking, okay, well, these are the ratings I expect to get, which means this is what I can charge for advertising. When you get expected things like that, especially with big events, and the ratings are not nearly what is expected, those media properties give money back to the advertisers, right? If advertisers are given money based on they think they're getting 10 million viewers and they get five, money is obviously, I'm simplifying, but money is going back. I'm not saying it's, oh, they're going to get half back, but money does go back. And so if these media rights companies are like, well, the ratings are not allowing us to make our investment back, it is that bad, and we don't see it getting better, they are going to trigger this and be like, hey, we're not bailing, but we have to renegotiate because we cannot turn a profit doing this. And if we can't turn a profit, right, it's not going to continue. And with the question, and that is why everything with Caitlin Clark is so important now, not just for Caitlin Clark fans complaining about how she's used or being worried that she's injured because they're fans and they want to play, but the future of the league still does depend on Caitlin Clark in the short team. Yes, the players got their CBA, and the players now are going to benefit through it. But if this gets renegotiated in 2028 down because we've seen Caitlin Clark be diminished or Caitlin Clark playing in a limited role because of injury, because hey, backs are nothing to mess with, and that's a real concern. I don't want to get into that in this video because it's already a little long. That can be a long video on it in and of itself, but I want to dive deeper into it a little more and look at some things and sort of not take that from a, oh, the sky is falling thing, but give you like, hey, here's what I'm seeing with Caitlin Clark. Here's what I've seen and what she's done. Here's what I'm worried about going forward. And also the flip side of the optimistic part of that could be where we're talking about things being cautious and so forth. But anyway, so here it is. Finally, I want to do a video on this specifically because, well, that's a huge deal, adding another bill. It's a 50% increase just about, but also that trigger. That is a huge deal for the WNBA. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate checking out the video. As always, like, comment, subscribe. Shout out to the 19. Go have the day you deserve. I will talk to you.